Hi, I'm Bruce Bishop. I'm from ChronicleT.com, the Chronicle Telegram. Back again this week for week number 2 with Tim Alcorn from AM 930 WEOL. And Tim, tell them where we are again in case they didn't see it last week.
Well, hey, we are at Cork and Stubby's in downtown Amherst, our second straight week and our second week out of 10 that we will be here at Cork and Stubby's. Had a great time here last week with Sean Bennett from the Chronicle Telegram. I guess I'm flying solo this week, but what a great place to shoot these weekly videos. A huge thank you to everybody at Corks and Stubbies. They were actually awaiting our arrival this week. They're like, man, we've been waiting for you guys to come in. So it's always great to be greeted with a smile. And hey, we are so thankful to Corks and Stubbies for having us here all season long and being the sponsor of these weekly chats, Bruce.
Right on. Hey, and then we're going to be doing this every Wednesday. That's kind of the plan. Every Wednesday about 1:30. So if people want to come by and watch this really kind of low-tech thing that we do, feel free. Come on by, grab yourself a drink, some food, whatever you want, and kind of watch us do our work here.
Yeah, fill up the seats behind us.
Right
so we'd love to see you sitting back there. So we're going to talk high school football, I guess, for a few more minutes.
Yeah, let's get on it. Last week, 6-10. We're off to a good start. What do you think?
Well, I don't know if 6-10 would be considered a good start. 6 wins for Lorain County teams, 10 defeats. Now, obviously, you're going to have some of that tempered by the fact that you had 2 county teams playing each other, like Midview and Lorain, like Elyria and Avon Lake. So somebody was going to win and somebody was going to lose. But certainly 6-10, I think, for the county, they'd like to see that improved upon somewhat here in week 2. But there were some very impressive wins by some of the teams last Friday night in the Lorain County area. The Midview game that we had on WEOL, Sean and I talked last week on this video that we thought Midview would be one of the top teams in Lorain County this year. They didn't disappoint. 28-0 win over Lorain High. Elyria with a very impressive win over Avon Lake. I'll tell you a couple of teams that really opened my eyes. Number one, Avon, and I mentioned last week, I thought they may be the best team in the county this year. They went over to Strongsville, played a very good Strongsville Mustang team and knocked them out pretty soundly. So an impressive performance by Avon to open up the season. And the one that really got my attention, North Ridgeville, without DeMario McCall. Now, we talked about him last Friday during this weekly chat and the fact that he's probably the premier player not only in Lorain County, but perhaps the entire Northeast Ohio region and the state. They go out, they being North Ridgeville, and win last Friday night without DeMario McCall in the lineup. Now, he's expected to be back Friday night against Amherst, but that's a very, very impressive win for North Ridgeville.
Right, and speaking of Amherst, that's a game where, first week they didn't win that game, but the score doesn't always tell the whole story, does it?
I'll tell you what, they really impressed me. Here's a club that I think everybody thought was going to get beat pretty badly in an opening night contest against Kenston, and yet to Coach Bill Fishley and his staff, and really the kids' credit, they came out and gave Kenston all they could handle. Yes, Kenston wins the game 6-3, but I think if you had told anybody before the game last Friday night, Amherst is going to stay within a field goal and be within 3 points of this Kenston team, they would have said, you're crazy. So very, very impressive performance by Amherst last week. Now, of course, they've got to turn around and play North Ridgeville this week, and we just talked about the fact that DeMario McCall comes back for the Rangers on Friday night, so that Amherst defense will be tested, no doubt about it. But, yeah, hats off to the Comets and their players. In football, there is no such thing as a moral win, and I'm sure for the Amherst coaching staff and the kids, they're probably tired of people saying this week, oh, great game last Friday. Hey, you play the game to win it. But that being said, I don't think a lot of folks gave Amherst an opportunity to be as close as they were last Friday night. That was a very, very impressive game 1 for the Comets.
So Amherst, North Ridgeville, that's going to be a good game. What else? What are we looking at? What are the big games coming up?
Well, it's hard to believe. Here we are in week 2, and we're already talking conference play because the Southwestern Conference has gone to 10 teams this year. You've got a 9-game conference schedule. So conference play opens in the SWC. That Amherst North Ridgeville game, Bruce, is one of those SWC contests. I think a great Southwestern Conference game this Friday is going to be North Olmsted at Midview. North Olmsted's always a team that flies under the radar. They're always right on the cusp of the playoffs. They're always right there as far as the SWC race is concerned. and yet nobody really talks about them. So I think this could be a very, very good ball game over at Midview. It's Midview's Hall of Fame weekend, so it'll be their home opener. That crowd should be huge, and it should be a great game in the SWC. Another SWC ball game, Avon Lake. Avon Lake really struggled Friday night against Elyria High, and of course Avon with the win that we mentioned over Strongsville, but it's a rivalry game, kind of that border war type of thing. So Avon Lake should be a very good ball game as well. So hard to believe, yeah. SWC already getting underway in week 2.
So what are your games? What are you guys looking at this week on the radio?
Well, another busy week on WEOL. We've got 4 games this week actually, because we've got the 3 games on Friday night. The radio game, Elyria Lorain will be over at George Daniel Field for the Pioneers and the Titans. Elyria looking to go to 2-0. And I think Lorain will play much better than they did last Friday night in that loss to Midview. I think Dave McFarland knew that he had a young football team, so they'll work on some things this week, and they'll get better for the Pioneers on Friday nights. We've got Elyria Lorain on the radio, Stream 2 on WEOL.com. Columbia, who had a very impressive Week 1 win, will be at Wellington to take on a Duke team that needs to bounce back. They got pounded pretty good by Chippewa last Friday night, so we'll see how the Dukes will do. And then our Medina County matchup on Friday night features one Medina County team. It'll be Cloverleaf at Keystone, each one of those teams with an opening week loss. So whoever wins on Friday night in that one, they'll be a pretty happy team, because you don't want to go 0-2. You want to bounce back in week 2. So Cloverleaf and Keystone will be the Medina County matchup. And then our 4th game this weekend, actually Saturday afternoon, Elyria Catholic has to wait until Saturday. They have an afternoon ball game over at Cleveland Central Catholic. They'll be taking on the Ironmen. We'll have that game Saturday afternoon on the radio. Busy weekend.
Speaking of EC, tough week for them.
It sure was. Boy, they went right down to the wire for the 2nd year in a row with Louisville St. Thomas Aquinas. Now, last year it was a real high-scoring game, 56-49, if I'm not mistaken. This year the score was a little bit lower, but EC with a tough 2-point loss. We'll see if they can bounce back. That makes for a big game on Saturday afternoon for the Panthers. Like I just said, you don't want to open up an 0-2. So EC, I'm sure that was a bitter pill to swallow on Friday night. They wanted that one, so we'll see if they can get it done on Saturday.
That sounds great, Tim. All right, anything before we close out here? Anything I'm forgetting to touch on?
I highly recommend Corks and Stubbies.
I had a feeling.
Well, it's a great place. We love coming here every week, and as you said, we plan on doing this on Wednesday afternoon, so hopefully we can get a big crowd behind us for a couple of weeks, but huge thank you to everybody here, and it'll be an interesting week 2 high school football-wise, no doubt.
That sounds great. Hey, one last thing, too. If people have questions about the high school games, how can they get the word to us if they want me to maybe throw you a question?
Oh, that's a great idea. Well, my email address at the radio station is very simple, TALCORN, Alcorn at WEOL.com. I'm on Twitter at TAPBP, play-by-play, TAPBP, that's my Twitter handle. And I know they can contact you via Facebook and Twitter and all that good stuff as well. So if folks have questions, Bruce, we'll figure out a way to answer them.
You got it. Okay, I'll put that on the end of the video so people will have the addresses handy. And
Great.
Let's get some interaction. You guys feel free to hit us up.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Tim. Looking forward to another good week.
All righty, Bruce. Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too.